Good morning. It's time for Lisa's Changing Perceptions, brought to you in part by the wonderful support of the Bremer Team Success Realty Keller Williams. Bremer Team Keller Williams Success Realty. BremerTeam.com, 847-456-6334. They bring families home. And speaking of home, Lisa, welcome back to your home right here at the station. That didn't go as well as a segue as I thought. I thought I had something there. I had nothing. That was a terrible segue.
What's funny is I was just thinking in my head, gosh, our station POFU happened like 20 minutes ago, so I'm not laughing as the show's starting this morning.
Well,
then thank you for making it the norm.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're back to normal because I screwed up. That's how it goes.
Literally, that's so funny because literally in my head I was thinking, gosh, we had a problem with it. Yeah, but it was like 20 minutes ago, so I'm not still laughing about it. P had me apparently sounding funny and making funny sounds with the speaker. So,
and she was you were cooperating very nicely because I was doing that for my own amusement because you couldn't hear any of it. So I had the headphones on. So yeah.
Welcome everybody. I hope everybody is well this morning. I'm Lisa with Lisa's Changing Perceptions. I am a self-empowerment coach, not a life coach. I do this every week for those new viewers. I am a self-empowerment coach and not a life coach because I cannot coach your life. I did not live it, but I can help to empower you with the tools to live it better or for what you're looking for if you're feeling that you need change. I am also a hypnotherapist, not a psychologist, a hypnotherapist, and I am also an NLP practitioner. And on this show, we talk about all kinds of different crazy topics because I'm also an intuitive medium, so sometimes some weirdness comes into it. So I welcome you all. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can reach me at lisaschangingperceptions.com, lisaschangingperceptions@gmail. You can text or call me at 262-573-7055. I am able to provide remote services as well. So if you don't live here in the McHenry area, that's okay. You can also always reach me through 216thenet.com, and Pete will make sure that I get any messages or comments that should come through. If there's a topic or a show that you would like to have discussed, please feel free to send a message to the station or to myself. Also, if you would like to be on the show with me because you have something that you would like to address, so I guess kind of a free mini session, please, it's always welcome. I enjoy having people in here and I enjoy working with them.
You can, and not only does Lisa welcome you right into the studio here, you can also, on the screen, for those of you watching here today, and if you'd like to watch instead of listen, you can come to youtube.com/c/216thenet, or you can find 216thenet on Facebook, on the Facebook page where we're streaming live, but you can click that little link that's right there, turn your camera on, turn your mic on, and join the show live if you like this morning. You're absolutely welcome.
I do welcome all kinds of participants. And here's why is I base a lot of my shows on my own life experiences or people around me. Also clients that come in, but no, I never give a name or any kind of personal detail, just views or topics. And it always seems like they're coming in like clusters. Universal energy has us facing things a lot of times that are similar. So they come in clusters, and it's usually kind of how I pick my show topics. So if you have something, like I said, you want to discuss, or if you want kind of a free mini session, you can come in on the show with me and I'll work with you. The only thing I ask for is respect and honesty, and I will give you the same back. But please do welcome. And today we're going to talk about life and manifesting. I wanted to do the topic of life. Is it happening to you or for you? But then I thought, okay, that's going to be confusing to people. And manifesting seems to be the big catchword right now in the world. So I figured, okay, I'll go with that. But to me, it all kind of goes hand in hand. So we're going to talk about all those things. And I, just for those of you who aren't familiar with me, if you don't, some of my views on this are outside the box and outside of the love and light world view of it. And if you have a comment, or even if you don't agree with me, I respect, appreciate, and welcome somebody's perspective that isn't the same as mine. So if you'd like to, as long as you're respectful and honest, you're welcome to come and click on be with us, join us, put your view in, put your experience in, or ask a question, whatever it is that you choose to do. So there we go. Did I cover it all, Pete?
Yeah, I think so.
I even had a cup of Death Wish at home this morning.
Did you really? That's amazing.
I did, because I found them in cake. I found it in K-cups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I don't have to make a whole pot of it.
Because I have a K-cup of Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin spice that was at the bottom of my. I am
not a pumpkin spice girl.
I am absolutely not unashamed to admit that. Is that right? I am not. I am unashamed because I don't care. There you go. Yeah, I did a double negative. So not and un are double negative. So that makes sense. Okay. Good God. Spit it out, Pete. I am a absolute hipster doofus for some pumpkin spice.
My roommate is too, because she said the other day, oh my gosh, it's almost pumpkin spice time. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
I am not a pumpkin spice girl. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts coffee girl, but I'm not
This is Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin spice. But
see, Dunkin' Donuts, we love your coffee and we drink it while we're working here on the air. So if you would like to sponsor us, we'd be happy to hold your cup up and talk about the different flavor or try-ins that we did that morning and how much we enjoyed them. So Dunkin' Donuts, if you are listening, we would love your sponsorship.
We would product placement the Holy Living Crud out of Dunkin'
Donuts. We would have a Dunkin' Donuts table here every day.
We sure would.
So, and throw in a Boston cream here and there and we'd be happy too. So don't worry. That's worth some donut holes. All right, now we got to get to serious.
I was liking the conversation about donuts.
About donuts.
Yeah.
I actually have been good this morning. I found I don't know if you'll like this. I found a coconut flavored Greek yogurt. And I have fallen in love with it. I would
probably try that.
I found that if you put some granola in it that has nice flavor and mix it, it is fabulous. And that's my new dessert treat when I want sweets. And it's also what I have for breakfast.
I did get some French vanilla granola in a bag at Walmart the other day. It was really cheap. It was $2.25 because they didn't have any other kind of. They were like sold out of a lot of their granola cereals. You know
who has good granola and it's organic and it's inexpensive is Aldi.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I get a chocolate one that's protein, chocolate protein one. And I put that in my oatmeal sometimes just for some sweet flavor, whatever.
Sweet flavor, a little bit more texture.
And there's a maple one that I also use in my oatmeal.
Maple brown sugar?
Yeah. And I'll put the chocolate one in my yogurt as well, in my vanilla coconut yogurt as well.
Okay, we really better get talking about your stuff.
We're sorry.
I could do this all morning.
All right. So, is there any questions or any people I need to address before I start?
Not at the moment, no. Okay. Everybody's just tuning in to granola talk.
So, life and manifesting. I have had more conversations this week about people who feel what I refer to as stuck in state. Being stuck in state means that at some points in our life, we made a decision. And I've talked about, the instant that we make a decision, or we've felt an emotional trauma response that we cannot pull ourselves out of. And so if we're in that long enough, or if it's strong enough, it becomes almost embedded within us. And we get stuck in that state, or that state of belief. And I talk to people who have been saying things, especially this last week or two, for whatever reason, universally that's happening, who say things like, well, I can't help it. It's just the way I am. No, I can't help it. It's just the way life is. No, I can't change that situation. It's just the way it is. And to me, that's the decision and the locked in state that I'm referring to. There are situations that can be difficult to get out of, or that might take some work, or that truthfully might take some tough love, or might take sacrificing something you believe is normal, or something you've become comfortable with, and risking the unknown. But we are never, ever locked in to anything. And so I have two friends that I talk to regularly. One of them is a medium. The other one's an intuitive of a different aspect. And we were talking about this a lot in the last few days, mostly. But this whole, all due respect, the whole love and light view of manifesting has really screwed up a lot of heads, in our opinion, as we talked about it. Sometimes things happen for us, not to us. And sometimes we need to go through the rough stuff in order to get to the good. Sometimes we vision and we pray and we make our manifesting boards, which I've done more than one in my lifetime. And there's a belief out there that, oh my gosh, if I picture it, it will come. And we were having a conversation about this, and I'm like, okay, so let's dig deeper than that, because there's a lot of cliches out there about it.
Yeah.
If you picture it, will it come? Or if you picture it, do you learn to see it? What's the difference? And here's my analogy to that, because I like analogies. So if I'm driving down the highway and I'm horrified to drive next to a semi, common fear, right? Common discomfort.
Okay.
And all I'm doing is I'm staring at that semi going, I'm so afraid of this. I wish it would just go past. I wish the semi would just go by. I hate how this feels. I hate being in this situation. I hate being next to the semi. And we're just looking at it, waiting for it to pass. How many exits did you miss where you could have gotten off the road and sat at the park for a few minutes to let the semi get farther away from you? How many sunrises or sunsets or beautiful skylines did you miss? How many people could you have met? How many stops or events did you miss that you were out there in your perspective? How many situations were there available for you at the exact same moment, at the exact same time, but your only focus was on your fear and the semi and your discomfort?
Yeah.
So when you stop looking at the semi, or the semi finally drives away, and you can now look all over and around because you're not locked in your state of fear or locked in your state of discomfort. And so you see an exit or a park or whatever it is you choose to stop at that's pleasant, or that you were hoping that you'd find something similar to it. Did you create it to just be there, or did you change your view? Did you change what you focus on? And the reason I put it that way is because oftentimes you hear words like, well, stop your stinking thinking. That's a very common.
Put that on a shirt.
That's a famous thing. There's a woman, she's passed away now, but she was very big in the love and light world, who said that all the time.
Really?
And I understood what she was saying, but my problem with the cliche was it makes it appear as though if you just think differently, things change. In order to not repeat the semi analogy, you have to become aware of your fear and your discomfort, and then realize that when that situation occurs, you need to divert your eyes, and you need to remember that there's something bigger, that there's something more. And you need to remember that there is an exit and there is something else around you. You just have to look for it. So to me, stopping your stinking thinking means changing the perspective of it by understanding that you're creating that discomfort. Now, you may not be able to change your discomfort of driving next to the semi, but you can change your view of the options available to avoid it, to leave it, to alleviate it, to make it less uncomfortable. But if you're only going to blame the semi and you're going to say, this always happens to me. How many people say that? How many times do you hear that when somebody keeps doing something over and over and over again?
Oh, yeah, they blame the
this
other
always happens to me.
Yeah.
You know, like the semi was out there searching for you and saw your car and said, I'm going to pull up right next to her because she had negative thoughts yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So now we're going to pay the price. And we kind of get locked in this state. And the cliches that say that manifesting is about visions and viewing, and if you can picture it, it will come. I don't like how it's put, because it does make it sound like my life is miserable, and if I just sit here and see a better one, all of a sudden I'll go outside and it will be there.
And I think, exactly to your point, though, I think that if you're going to that vision, creating the vision gives you something that you move toward, because you know then what the thing or situation, or whatever, you've pictured it, you've imaged it, so you know. But that
so
helps
you know
you
what
take
you're looking
action,
for,
and it helps you know what you're looking for. And to me, that's more the manifestation. Now I know where I'm going, so now I know what steps to take in order to make that thing happen.
Well, and there, that actually is a good good point, because that was going to be my next comment was, now let's take it one step backwards instead of forwards. Because people say, well, I thought of this, so therefore it came. Okay, like you said, you thought of it, so you were able to see it, so you now knew what you were looking for.
Yeah.
It was always there.
Right.
The same way the exit was always there. You were only focused on the semi. Now, goes one step back from that. People say, well, I don't understand how they say they're going to do something or want something, and then all of a sudden it happens. My personal opinion is that happens when people are very aware of their intuition and their internal state. Because before you can even envision it and sit and picture it and do that work, something inside you has to have a calling for it. There has to be that draw, that something that occurs that makes you want to go look for something different or better. Right? Because we don't change unless
you really want to.
Right.
Unless
and that does and what is wanting to change start with? It starts with desire to change, right?
Right.
And how often is change fun in the process? How often is change comfortable in the process? It's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare that it's comfortable. And it's uncomfortable because unknown is uncomfortable. But that draw is there, that inkling is there, that push is there, because something within you is saying you have to get out of this, right? You have to leave this. This has to change. And let's go one step before that. What causes the search for the desire? What causes the desire to stir? 9 times out of 10, discomfort, struggle, harm, trauma. The list goes on. So sometimes life happens for us to push us out of a situation, to push us into a different direction. But if we get locked in state and believe that that's just how it is, it's not that God or the universe or whatever is punishing us, it's that it's all we can see.
Right.
All we can see is that that's what's going to happen to us. I've heard people say it, and I know people who are locked in the state where they say, oh, I don't know why I bothered to think that this was going to be fun or easy, because nothing for me ever turns out easy. Okay. So sometimes stuff goes wrong. That's just life, right? Yeah. But if you go into something, if you and I go to an event and we go into it and I'm excited about it, and you're like, well, let's see who's going to piss me off, or who's going to make me spill my drink, or let's see who's going to block it, or who's going to have their, if you're going in there going, let's see what's going to happen this time, what are you searching for?
Well, you're exactly right. You're looking for the negative. You're looking for a way to have a bad time.
Right. You're looking for what you've decided is your life normal.
Right.
And so therefore, here's the deal. You and I can both have somebody next to us doing all those things. And who's going to notice it, you or me? I'm making you the bad guy in this scenario.
I'm the bad guy. Then I'm the only one. I'm the only one that's going to notice it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, what do you mean? I didn't see them. Didn't you see on stage? Or didn't you see where they did this? And you didn't. Why didn't you see it? Why didn't you see what we went there for?
Because I'm looking for the bad thing. I was not looking for the good time. I was looking for the bad time. So
but here's the thing. They're both there.
Yeah.
They're both there. Both instances are there. So it's not like people sometimes like to make it sound, because the cliches sell. That's the bottom line to me. The cliches sell. Everything is all out there for you. It's a matter of what you focus on. Now, here's the thing, is that when you say something like that to certain people in certain states, you're basically giving them one more failure. Because if they're locked in a state, in an emotional state, or they're locked in a belief that they can't get out of because the trauma was severe or whatever, for whatever reason that occurred,
right,
they can try and try and try and try and try, and they can't stay in a positive state. They can't force the positive state. The pain, the discomfort, the belief is so strong and overwhelming. And I have somebody in my life that I always say, oop, your cloud of guilt is rising. It's beginning to clog your view. You can't see through your smog of guilt. So it's sometimes kinder to tell someone the truth or to point out something like that as gently as possible when you can, to try and kind of break the state, to break what they're seeing. But when we tell somebody, well, if you would just think differently or you would just do differently, your life would be better, without giving an example, an option, a support, or an understanding,
Yeah.
you're just somebody else telling them that they're worthless. It's the bottom line. Is it that person can't manifest anything good because they're a bad person? Absolutely not. They have everything available to them that the rest of the world has. But they have an emotional state where they have a belief that's something different. They have a belief that they're not worthy. And so when we tell people, just envision it and it will come, there are people who can't do that. They can't see it, or that misunderstand it because they truly believe that if they sit in their recliner and, picture the winning lottery ticket, all of a sudden, they'll walk out to their car and the wind will have blown it into their driveway.
Yeah. Now, Shayna is piping in, and Shayna says, could that be partly why there is so much, or why there is such a disconnect between races? Good morning. I
guess I don't understand the correlation she's making.
Yeah, I'm not really there on the correlation either, Shayna. Sorry. I don't know that envisioning and action steps and, if
has anything to do with race.
Yeah, I don't, the human race maybe, but I'm not making a connection there. So maybe.
Yeah, you might need to clarify what you're asking, Shayna, because I don't understand the correlation between those two things.
Yeah. So.
But with all respect, I'm going to tell you, it brings up a very good point in this. Isn't it interesting that when we're talking about life change, emotion, trauma, and Shayna, this is not an insult, don't take it that way, but it's actually a good example, that the topic that we're constantly forced to see right now is the first thought that came to mind.
Yeah. Well,
it's everywhere around you. It's what you're.
Yeah, because everybody is pumping that right now. It's just, race this, race that.
Right. So it gets locked in. We get locked in a state that's what we see. So no matter what we hear and what we see, we're there. So Shayna, that is not a criticism. That's actually a fabulous example, and I'm grateful that you said it, because that's kind of being locked in state. When you're locked in and the only thing you can see is what's right in front of you, and everything around you correlates to that belief. Correlates to that focus. At no point, I don't think ever on a show have I talked about race making it different in what we have available in the world. I don't.
Yeah, it's just not one of the topics.
I believe in the human spirit, and everybody has one. So, again, Shayna, please take respect to what I said. I don't mean anything.
Actually, no. She says that's my point. So you're just making, okay. Okay, you guys are on the same page.
Okay, so I just I didn't understand how you were correlating it, but yes. When that's what's constantly in front of us and that's all we can see and that's what the focus is and it's all around us and we can't divert our direction, then yes, everything becomes that.
That's surprising.
So for this situation, it happens to be race. I use the truck as the example because it's very neutral, and the majority of people who have driven on the highway know the discomfort of a semi right there.
And the semi is they don't, other than knowing that they really can't see me in certain spots, they don't bother me that much. It's bridges for me, like big bridges.
Yeah, well, then we'll use bridges because I love scenarios. So, you have a discomfort with bridges, but you know that you can conquer a bridge if you had to.
Oh, yeah.
And because you've continually had to, you've become more comfortable with the knowing that you can conquer them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't go seeking them out.
Bingo. That's my point. So, right. So, but would you go on a trip to somewhere unknown if you didn't know if there would be any big bridges that you had to cross?
If it was a place I wanted to go, yeah.
If you wanted to go there bad enough, you'd take the risk, right? Yeah. And why would you take the risk? Because you have already conquered the fact that you can conquer the bridge?
Yeah, I know I can.
And where you want to go to,
I know I can do
is
it.
Important enough.
I just don't like doing it.
Right. But you had to continually conquer that fear in order to discover your ability to learn how to conquer it the easiest, to learn that you could do it, to make it to where it's still a discomfort, but it's no longer a life-stopping fear, correct?
Right.
So because you took the time and you continually repeated the process without avoiding bridges and avoiding places you wanted to go, you developed your ability to do that.
Well, I mean, I have avoided because, our daughter went
nobody jumps into conflict and says, hey, I'm here, bring it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that my point is that so you have done that enough and seen that enough and self-developed that enough and faced it enough that now if you were to want to go somewhere that was very important to you and important enough to you, that bridge is no longer going to stop you.
Excuse me. No, it wouldn't stop me. If I really wanted to get somewhere or had to get somewhere or go somewhere, I would do it.
But that understanding is a developed understanding, a developed confidence, a developed thing, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And in order to do that, you had to stop avoiding the unknown or avoiding what you knew would be fearful.
Correct.
Such as life on every topic. And now the unknown is less scary to you as long as the goal, the end result that you're seeking is a strong desire.
Shayna comments or asks rather, isn't that desensitization?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But in order to develop desensitization, you have to have the draw, the instinct, the inkling to conquer the fear.
Eric Bam has tuned in this morning. Eric says, I'm here and I'm wearing my bedazzled pants, my good church pants. So there you go.
Thank you for getting dressed up for us this morning.
Eric's awesome.
You have to have had the drive and the desire to conquer the fear, to develop. And in order to have that drive and desire, in order to create the desensitization, initially, what made you have to conquer that fear, Pete? What made you decide you had to do it?
I had to get to I had to take my daughter to college, and I had to go back and forth. And initially, the only way I knew how to get there was going through the Chicago skyline and over the great big bridge that goes over into Indiana.
So you found that your fear was going to block out your ability to make choices that you felt were right or wrong for you in your life.
Right.
And create yourself to be the man and the father.
To go where I had to go, I had to use that bridge. I had to use the Chicago skyline.
Well, but the truth is you didn't actually have to go there. So, you could have told your daughter no. But for you as a person, as a man and a father, felt you needed to go do this with your daughter.
Right, correct.
So the outcome, the purpose, the integrity, the character of who you've decided that you are said you have to do this for you, for your life, for you, who you are.
Correct.
And that had to be stronger than the fear.
And it well, I mean, it just simply was. It had, I mean, to me, it was just something that there wasn't another choice. I had to do that.
Because that's who you decided that you are as a person.
Yeah.
That's decided that you are as who you are as a man and a father.
And
there are men who wouldn't have gone. They would have just said, no, I can't.
Oh, geez, no, there's not. I'll never say that to one of my kids.
Because that's who you've decided that you are as a man and a father.
So, that's.
But see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where it's still all about our own choices. It's not about.
True. I suppose very true. Because to me, when it comes to my children, there's the choice is them, that what they need and what I can do for them and what I can provide.
Right. But that's your choice as a man and a father.
Choice.
Right.
To me, there's not a no, unless it's something ridiculous, like when they were little kids.
And there are people who would have said, well, there's a way around the skyline. It'll take an extra hour, but there's a way around.
And we did find a way around the skyline.
I know there is one because I avoid the skyline and I used to drive to Toledo. So I get it. There's one.
Shayna says, ding, 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 discomfort. Got it. Eric now says, one of the greatest misses in our life is our desire or our fear. Fear, real or not, paralyzes most of us from being successful or chasing dreams.
That's absolutely a fact. And that's kind of what brought me up to this today, because I'm seeing people and talking to people who have those fears. And I even find it in myself sometimes. So the bridge example, there's other people who would have said, you know what? I still want to get there, but I'm going to find my way around the bridge. I'm not ready to conquer my fear of the bridge. So I'm going to find my way around the bridge, but I'm still going to get to where I'm going, but I'm willing to put the extra effort and time in to do it where it's a little more comfortable for me. There's nothing wrong with it. You're still getting to your end result.
Yeah.
And then there's other people would say, I can't believe they put a bridge there where I have to go through. I can't believe they put a bridge there that I have to cross in order to get where I want to go.
Well,
I can't like the whole universe created the world at your obstacle.
And that's the thing. And to be fair, I mean, if you're going that way to get from Chicago to Gary, Indiana, you're not getting there without that bridge. I mean, there's just I mean, I guess you could if you went way down, because we could go south into Indiana on, what is that, 240 or whatever it is, and get there just as fine and just as easy in about the same amount of time. You know, we learned that.
And it would be a choice.
And that's easy.
And here's the thing. It would be a choice. And here's the thing. Here's what society's judgment is. That choice for the person who chose it is not wrong. And that's not a wrong choice.
Eric,
if for them to get to their destination, they take the longer route, but they still have a purpose and a goal and an end result that is positive for them and what they need to do.
Yeah.
Their choice to get there harder and longer shouldn't be judged. It's still a choice. They're still looking for their outcome.
Very true. And if you got it, I mean, I guess if that's the outcome you want, and it's funny, Shayna said, video in Eric, we need to see the pants, and then his bedazzled pants. And then Eric says, I was so freaking nervous the first time I went live with Pete. Eric, I never knew you were nervous. You did a phenomenal job. He said, I got over the fear of it and it became normal. And then Eric offers up comfort creates discomfort.
Right. But that's a good example too. In order for him to decide to come and do the show and conquer that fear, the show had to be important enough. The desire to want to do it had to be strong enough to conquer the fear.
Wow. That makes me feel extremely honored, Eric. Thank you. I never thought of that way.
But that's for every decision in life. In order for that to happen, the desire for the outcome has to be greater than the fear. Remember, we've talked about tipping the scales. The desire for the outcome has to be greater than the fear. And that's how we get past those things. But here's the reality. The show has always been here. He could have sat at home and pictured himself being on the show.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm so afraid and I'm going to picture it. And guess what? Pete's not going to come set the studio up in your house. And even if he did, you're still going to be afraid. You have to choose to get up and say, this desire is greater than my fear, and I'm going to conquer it and make that choice. The manifesting is there. The manifesting is in what do I choose to go look at and see. And for those of you who get stuck in depression, or for those of you who aren't ready to conquer your fears, here's what I tell you. Okay. That's fine. It's not for me to judge that. You're not ready to. Here's where I challenge people. For those of you who are not ready to conquer your fears, or are locked in depression or anger or hurt or whatever it is, because I tell everybody anger is just buried hurt coming to the surface and starting to blow. Mm-hmm. Buried hurt and fear coming to the surface and starting to blow. You have every right to do that until you harm another.
No. When
you take it out on another, that's where I'm going to go eye to eye and say, okay, here's my challenge to you. So that's a choice, and I will challenge that. But if you are not ready to conquer it, that's okay. That's okay. But in that alone, because you're aware of choosing not to, your life and the consequence of the choice belongs to you. When we do not choose change, it is a choice within itself.
Actually, yeah. When you don't, you're choosing not to change. If you don't choose change, you're choosing to stay.
Yes.
Eric says, have a dream, write it down, put a date on it, tell your friends about it, work toward it, learn about it, watch Lisa's Changing Perceptions. And then he says, he types out in all caps, 10 fire emojis, but didn't include the emojis. That's okay. That's all right. So he's telling everybody you got to watch Lisa's Changing Perceptions.
Well, and here's the thing is that, yes, you can write it down. You can put the date on it. You can tell your friends that. Those are all great things about it. But here's where the confusion comes for some because of cliches. I did that and the universe saw it and therefore it happened. Okay. Or human nature says that when you say something out loud, you commit yourself to it, and then you tell other people about it. You have a sense of accountability towards it.
Shayna has a comment that I think you're going to relate to immediately. She says, I feel that way with grief. So many try and decide what is right for another.
Oh, we can have a whole show on that because I have been judged about my grief and how I dealt with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Everything is always there. And again, Eric's example, the human nature is that we do feel somewhat accountable for what we say. Mm-hmm. We do feel somewhat accountable when we make a promise or when we talk big. So do we always succeed at what we said we do? No, we don't. But there's still that seed that was planted and that seed that grows that kind of keeps us in that direction. And even if we didn't follow through with it, or even if we weren't successful at it for whatever reason, whether it was that we quit or whether it was that it just kind of wasn't something that was meant to be, and every obstacle in the planet got in front of you, so it wasn't meant to be. Either way, that outpouring was your spirit, your human nature, your character, your integrity now feeling, oh shit, I said it. I have to take accountability for it, and kind of pushing you towards the direction of the steps towards that. My disbelief or my argument with the whole universal thing, although I believe that the universe blesses us and brings us opportunities, absolutely. My problem is that it makes it sound like, well, I wrote it down on a piece of paper and I put a date on it and I told people, now I'm going to sit here and hold my breath. Oh, I can't wait till it's out in the driveway.
And see, exactly to your point, Eric offers up the universe, or God in parentheses, whatever works for you there, also gives you 2 feet and 2 hands to work toward your goals. So, I mean, to me, you and Eric are kind of like right there. Like,
well, and that's an example I give to clients when they come in because I'm an intuitive medium and because I do the work that I do. A lot of people come in and they're like, I want to do hypnosis because I never want to feel like this or act like this again. Really? Holy shit, what kind of hypnosis you read about? I got the magic hour, because if I could do that in an hour, oh my God, the lineup. McHenry'd be charging me for the people waiting on the road.
Yeah.
That's really not how it works.
So, yeah.
So what I explain to them is what I do. My greatest gift to a client is, truthfully, I am probably one of the least judgmental people when it comes to someone else's reaction to pain, unless you do harm. Then I'm probably going to go eye to eye. But I don't judge people for their experiences and how they've reacted to them, because I do have an understanding, first off, of my own poor reaction to things and the judgment that caused that poor reaction to be amplified versus healed. And I do have college behind me to understand the unconscious mind and the inner, all those things. So I don't judge it, but I tell them that is probably my greatest gift, is to give you a safe place to be exactly the truth of who you are, that maybe you don't feel you can be outside of my office. But what I do is I offer tools. So my example that I give is I can give you the wood, I can give you the hammer, and I can give you the nails. Those are tools.
Yeah.
But if you don't get your ass up and build the fence, you just have a pile of junk.
Pretty much. And everything's going to get
and here's the deal. You can stare at the pile of wood, nails, and hammers, and you can picture it becoming a fence. And when you open your eyes, you'll still have a pile of junk.
And Shayna says she was today's years old when she learned about hypnosis.
Yes.
You're there.
Yes, that's true. Because I do expect a miracle. I'm not magic.
And in that line, Eric says, I believe the universe is conspiring to do only good things to me. And by the way, he says hashtag shared on your show here.
So. Thank you. Here's the thing. Sometimes I actually believe Eric. I agree with Eric. The universe is only conspiring to do good things for us, and sometimes kicking our ass is the best thing it can do for us, because sometimes that's the only way we see that we're in the wrong direction. Sometimes the only way that we find that purpose and we find that desire to change is when we become so friggin' uncomfortable that we can't see straight. So sometimes the universe's gift to us is to make us so freaking uncomfortable we can't see straight so that we're forced to change.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I have a few times in my life received what I believe was universal blessings. And I do believe that they are, but I don't believe that the universe created it because I did the right thing. I believe the universe helped me see what was already there because I couldn't stand to see what I was already seeing. And there has been a couple times in my life when I literally have decided I would rather die right now in this second than live one more second feeling this way. With my life being the way it is and meaning it. That's the difference too. Because now with the cliches, sometimes people say, okay, now when you sit, my girlfriend and I were laughing about this. No offense to people who do this, because I have done it too. And I still do on occasion. So this is just an example, but I find it humorous with this because there are people who just believe if they do what the book says, or if they do what the cliche says, that it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to be a little more like that before I got kind of a little rougher around the edges when it comes to it. And I remember trying to manifest something, and I wrote it down on the piece of paper like it said. Mm-hmm. And then I got the candle, and I visioned it, and I read my paper out loud, and then I burned it in the candle, and I watched the smoke go up, and I saw it go into the universe, and that's what the book said. Now this shit's going to happen, right? And it didn't. And so I called my girlfriend, who's a little more into, the mystical, magical part of it, which is fine. And I have respect for it. And I said, oh my God, it didn't happen. Why does the universe hate me? What karma is there that I didn't clear? What was it? My ancestors? Was it a past life? I was so devastated because I burned the freaking piece of paper and I read it out loud, and I burned it in the candle and I watched the freaking smoke, and it's what the book said to do. There must be some karmic thing, and I'm not allowed to have it. And my punishment is to suffer my life without it. And this is what the person actually said to me. What color candle did you use?
Okay. Keep going.
Are you shitting me? And here's the sad part. It was in my early birthing stages of all of this. And I was like, holy shit, you mean it was supposed to be green? I got a white one because to me, white was purity. And I wanted a pure request. Oh my God, I got to do it again. I got to go buy some green freaking candles. And I actually got wrapped up in that. And there are a lot of people who are wrapped up in that. And here's the thing. Do I believe that that works? Yes. If it's something that you feel strong enough that your desire, your intent, your energy, your momentum, it helps to push you towards it.
Yeah.
If that's what resonates with you,
and
yes.
If that propels you to take additional action, because, hey, now I've gone out and got the green candle instead of the freaking white one.
And now I feel like it's really going to work. Now I've raised the level of how it's going to work. Yeah. Right. If it's about raising that vibration, raising that momentum. It's about the belief. And I tell that story with all respect because I love the person who said that to me. But for me, that didn't resonate. I was just reading his books. I didn't have any kind of self-understanding.
What color candle did you use?
And it was and it's those kinds of things that make me crazy. Because the truth is, when we say everything you need is inside of you, it's true. Mm-hmm. But we have to find it. We have to dig through the clutter. It's like saying, you know what? I know that little tiny bolt that I need to solve this problem is in the junk drawer. And then you open up the junk drawer and you're like, holy shit. I'm never going to find this in there. Right. And if you don't start cleaning out the junk drawer and looking, you're absolutely right. You're never going to find it.
Yeah.
You're never going to find the piece that you need to solve the problem in front of you.
Yeah.
Because you won't clear out all the clutter that's blocking it. So yes, it is within you. It's not what color candle. It's not the great crystal that you had. Oh my God, I got an amethyst when I was supposed to get a clear quartz. Well, shit. I just spent $20. Oh my God. I can't believe I bought the wrong one. It's not about that. Do those things have energy and vibration and all these things for us? They absolutely do. But what works for you? It's about the momentum. It's about the belief. It's about saying, you know what, I need to look at something different, and I know I need it so much that I'm going to find what works for me. Life's the journey of finding that each time, of conquering each little thing that gets you to the next thing. You wouldn't be able to go experience your daughter's college if you didn't conquer your fear of the bridge.
Yeah.
It's about taking the steps and moving forward. And what's important enough to me that I want to get there? The bridge and your daughter's college were always freaking there. But you had to have a situation come up that was important enough to you that says, this is where I know I want to be for who I am as a person and who I am as a father in my life. And in order to get there, I must do this.
Yeah.
And I'm choosing to do it because the situation has come in front of me and I'm making the choice to do it. And if I don't make the choice to do it, I know that I will live in regret for the rest of my life, and that's not worth it.
No. And the last time I had to go over that bridge, I didn't even have to sing my bridge song.
There you go. Because you begin to develop your confidence. It's like driving a car.
Yeah.
The first time you get in the car, you're nervous, right? And then you do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it again, 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 and then you're not afraid to travel, and then you're not afraid to go across country. I just went across the freaking country and drove the Smoky Mountains, white knuckled, and threw up after 4 hours of it when I got there. But I did it. And you know what? Now I've even thought, wow, you know what? I get a free stay there next summer. Maybe I'll go back.
There you go.
Because the outcome and the beauty of what I saw and being there and everything was worth the 4 hours. But before I went there, it was horrifying. Those are all the things. And I can picture being there, and I can go, okay, I'm going to skip the Rocky Mountains and I'm just going to end up there because I'm not going to go through the hard part. And guess what? My butt will not end up there. Because the universe is not going to say, okay, here you are.
Ta-da.
Right. It's just not how it works. And so we read these things and we do these things and we have all these books. And here's another funny one, just because we'll end the kind of show on a little bit lighter. I know I can get intense. I remember I had somebody in my life who was with intention making my life difficult and becoming an obstacle on purpose.
Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, Denise. And it was like a focus for them. And they were so successful at it and so successful at manipulating the people in my little circle that they were a living, breathing, freaking obstacle. And I did not know how to get past it.
Huh.
I did not know how to get past it. And I was so upset because everything I tried to solve, they intentionally did everything they could to make it worse. They intentionally did everything they could and it was somebody I could not get out of my inner circle in the moment based on circumstances.
I'm sorry.
What?
Eric, in response to your throwing up on driving, Eric says, I throw up after every conversation with Pete. Hashtag fanboy. I hope that's not true.
No. So I went and I started to read about, are you ready?
Yeah.
Why the universe brings people into your space to cause harm. Why? What karmic lesson could there be in somebody? I read everything. So this is what I heard. This is what I was told, right? As I'm discussing this, because I'm devastated. I mean, this went on for like years. It was just a trial. And so somebody said, well, if you put their name on a piece of paper and then put it in a baggie of water with some garlic and some pepper and freeze it, you freeze their ability to affect you.
Okay.
Well, shit.
Why
That's
not?
easy enough. I got that stuff.
Give it a shot.
Well, I did that. And then they were still affecting me. and it was in there for months. So I took the frozen baggie out and I beat the shit out of it on the counter and said, this didn't frickin' work.
Eric says, was it a clear bag or a color bag?
Nope, it's a clear bag.
Okay.
So here's the thing. This is how I've learned. I'm not making fun of people's modalities. I'm giving examples of why did that not work for me? Because I didn't believe it would. I was desperately seeking something to just make it stop.
Yeah.
So I tried all these things and eventually it did stop. And do you know when it stopped, Pete? When I finally said, you know what, I've had enough. I truly don't give a shit what you think about me or what I do. And anybody that close to me that believes this shit and is making my life more difficult, you are free to go because I'm over it.
Well, there you go.
And you know what changed? I meant it. I got to the point that I couldn't stand it anymore. And I was no longer afraid of what would happen if those people left me or judged me. Because the reality is, anybody in your close circle that has that much control over you because you're afraid you'll lose them or they'll judge you, well, you should review your circle.
Kind of. And why you have that.
Exactly. And bingo, you just asked the first perfect question, because then people say, well, yeah, all those people are awful. Okay, there's awful people in the world and there's wonderful people in the world. But the true question that you're deflecting in that is, why am I choosing these people in the world? Yeah. My girlfriend, I talked about it yesterday too, because she has a friend who's been married 4 times. I am not judging that. They've also been divorced 4 times. Okay. And when they're asked, wow, why have you been divorced 4 times? You know what they say? They were horrible. They were horrible. They were awful women.
All 4, but you married each one.
Right. There's a 2-sided factor there. So the only thing that's the same in all of those scenarios is, well, you. So maybe they really were all awful women. So is it that awful women harm you? Or is it that there's something inside of you that's attracted to awful women? Or were they good women and you had awful behaviors and you kept repeating coping skills that destroyed relationships because you felt they should make you happier, better, and didn't choose to self-change? Either scenario is possible. Either scenario is legitimately possible.
Yeah.
But in any scenario, there's only one contributing factor that's consistent, right? So what about you is creating that situation? Or did one day you say out loud, I bet I'll never have a successful marriage? And although your life was planned to be freaking amazing, the universe heard you say, I bet I'll never have a successful marriage, and went, well,
then, okay,
so be it.
I guess that's what you want.
And that's also a belief that people have. And I kind of giggle. I was talking to my girlfriend in South Carolina, who I love, and I hope she's actually listening because she's going to laugh about this. My life had changed the momentum, as we even know. You know, my townhouse came and my job, and it just started to roll, and I was going to Colorado. But I was kind of overwhelmed with so many things to do, almost that it happened so fast. I didn't know if I was ready. You know, like, yeah, I prayed for all of this, and oh my God, shit, it's here. Now what do I do? There's so much to do. I'm in a panic. And so I was driving to work one day and she said, how are you? Because I used to talk to her every day on the way to work. And I said, I'm overwhelmed and I'm kind of pissed off and I'm aggravated because there's just so much to flip and do. I've got to get ready for Colorado. I got to finish my job out here. It's almost the end of the school year. I got to, get dealing with my roommate. I got to figure out how to pay for this, like just all these things. And I'm listing all these things that I have to do. And she said to me, stop. And I said, stop what? My rambling? And she goes, no, stop saying all those bad things or it's going to happen. I said, so let me understand this. I did the work. I took the steps. I self-reflected. I spent 6 weeks in that frickin' woods, pulling up all my junk and looking at it. I did all that work. I was the one who, yes, the interview was brought to me, but I succeeded and I did that interview well. I was the one who was presented with this townhouse situation kind of out of the blue. Thank you, universe, for putting it in front of me. Thank me for being allowed to see it. Thank me for being able to see it and take the risk to go move in with a stranger, basically. And now I don't know how I'm going to get all these things done. And I'm about to make a drive that I'm kind of afraid to make. And it's kind of a big deal to go on your own. And my kids were worried about me. And, all these things are going on. And because I'm feeling overwhelmed by all the blessings that have come, that I thank myself for being able to see and unafraid to conquer, you're telling me that God or spirit or what up there is going, Jesus Christ, we brought her everything and listen to her, bitch. That's it. Take it. Take it. Give her a flat tire on the way to work, too. Go ahead, teach her. You must be joking. You must be joking. And she said, but you have to have gratitude. I had immense gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
Immense gratitude. In the moment, I was feeling overwhelmed. But there's this belief that's taught that if you say it, it will happen. That's silly. That's really like kind of God's up there playing on the chessboard or Monopoly board going, okay, what's my next move? Or playing the game of Sorry. Have you ever played the game Sorry?
Oh, yeah.
I love the game Sorry. I don't care. That's a kid's game. I love the game Sorry. And you're like, God's up there going, okay, when I get the card, who's going to get it? Who said something bad to me a few minutes ago because they're going to get it? Who was depressed? Who was depressed when they had blessings? They're my next one to take out. That's just stupid. I don't have another way to put it. That's just stupid.
Oh, man.
God or the universe or whatever word you choose to use has everything out there. Pete, the same trees, the same homes, the same cars, the same everything is out there for me as it is for you.
Yeah.
The difference will be, and the reason there's so many different ones is what will draw our desire, who we choose to be, what we choose to look at in life, what we choose to value, what our priorities are will be a little different. So there's opportunity to find what's right for you.
Yeah.
But if you only stare at what's wrong for you, that's all you'll ever see. And I've used this, I know we're running out of time. I've used this scenario, and it'll be the last scenario, and then we're going to close out the show, is the blue car scenario. If I come and I convince you every single day that a blue car almost hit me, or a blue car harmed me, or I can't believe the drunk guy was in the blue car, or I can't believe that the person in the blue car was doing this, or I can't believe, and I keep repeating blue car, you will determine when you drive unconsciously, you will start looking out for blue cars and assume blue cars are bad. And it will become your focus when you drive. And all you'll look for is the blue car. So in a weird way, you're only focusing on the negative things you've heard and you've been told. You didn't even experience them. just the negative things that you've heard and you've been told. Because it's reiterated. The truth is, the blue car is no different than any other car. It's just that you chose to focus only on it, and you made a decision that because someone said that blue car was bad, that it must be. If you can step back and realize the decision that you made, the choice that you made, the way you choose to view it, and realize the unrealistic view of it, and the non-reality aspects of it, then you can say, you know what? I don't think blue cars are bad. Somebody just told me that.
Yeah.
I don't think this always has to happen to me. I don't think every blue car is out to hurt me. I choose not to think that anymore because that's not realistic.
I've always kind of wanted a blue truck.
And then when you're driving, you'll notice all the cars on the road, or you'll only notice your destination. So you'll notice all the opportunities and you'll be aware of all the things around you, or you'll only realize your destination and you'll lose track of anything that fears you around you. It's our focus. The universe, I've told everybody, I have a house in my head that I've seen for years. I don't believe that once I finally get to the right vibration, all of a sudden, poof, in the field it will become. I believe it's out there somewhere because something about me, something about my life contract says it is. My vibration is about finding the steps to get there and having enough draw to do and conquer what I need to conquer to get there. That's manifesting to me. That's manifesting to me. So it's the end of the show. I could do a million shows on this. In the near future, I have been requested to do a show called When Sorry Is Not Enough. So be looking for that in the near future. I'm not sure which week I'm going to do it, but When Sorry Is Not Enough. So thank you for joining us. You can reach me at 262-573-7055 by phone or text. Lisa'sChangingPerceptions.com, Lisa'sChangingPerceptions@gmail. Also through Facebook or through 216thenet.com. As always, thank you for joining us. How much time do we have left, Pete?
We got about a minute and a half, and I will say, Eric, I'm not sure what you mean by that. He says, I want a big spoon with Pete. I have a big spoon, a big cereal spoon, just because I'm lucky, I guess. But
yeah, what does a big spoon have to do with?
I'm not. Well, he knows that I do not like hugging, so I'm thinking he's teasing me on that. But
Why is the big spoon about hugging?
Because when you're big spoon, little spoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I only spoon with one person in my life. That's it, Mary Catherine. No one else. So
well, that's again, it's a personal preference. It's the way it is.
100%.
Thank everybody who joined us today too. I know sometimes I get babbling and I don't feel like I leave enough space for people to even think before I go to the next thing. So thank everybody for coming in today. I hope you take a few minutes today to close your eyes and say, okay, is what I see and what I feel truth? And start planting the seed of reality. And some good questions to ask yourself if you're trying to do that is, one is, what role am I playing in that? Another is, do I have evidence of that? So if those are some questions you can use, and I often use them with clients who get locked in state or in a belief that something can't change. Do I have evidence that that's true? Do I have evidence that there's nothing else available for me? Do I have evidence that this is really going to happen? Whatever it is for the individual person, but those are some good questions to start with. So I throw those out to you to end the day. Have a good one. Enjoy. It's too hot to enjoy outside for most of us.
It'll be a nice day.